What is AI good for and what is it not? Because I think there's a tendency these days, any problem in a business, just be like, AI it. Let's hit the AI button. And it's like, well, that's silly. It's not the right tool for every scenario. On the flip side, we just listen to the things it's good at, but the things it's not good at, empathy, mirroring, tone, sense of humor. And Jeff Bezos said early days, he was like looking at the internet, we're going to invest in things that aren't changing. And we're going to look at what constraints does the internet remove? I think if we apply that to AI, it's like, what is AI good at? Number one, round the clock question and answering. Number two, can talk to multiple customers at the same time. Number three, really good at generating written content. And number four, it's as smart as you train it. So that's a blessing and a curse, right? Poorly trained, you're like, this is a huge detriment to the business.
Today's episode is brought to you by one of our show partners, UpFrog.
UpFrog is the OG when it comes to pricing transparency online. They find system replacement leads through paid ads and have developed an entire system to drive those hard-to-find system replacement opportunities, nurture the leads, and book them into sold systems before your team arrives to help you grow your business.
Hey, I'm Krista with MarketStorm, and we work with home service companies across the country. Quick question. If another HVAC or plumbing company in your area starts influencing homeowners before they ever hit Google, who gets the first call? By the time someone searches plumber near me, they've already been researching the problem. We use AI to detect those early intent signals and put your brand in front of them. So when they do search, your name already feels familiar. Visit marketstorm.ai or text us at 213-575-5448.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. Hope you're having a wonderful day. You're listening to or watching the Service Business Mastery Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Tersh Blissett, sitting virtually next to my co-host, Joshua Crouch. And we have Shaun with Breezy on. How are you?
I'm good, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk Moneyball for the home services. I love that title. Josh is kind of a baseball nut.
Love that.
Yeah. We've done in several presentations, we've talked about the Moneyball theory. And so I'm interested to see how we're going to spin it a little bit on this episode. But with that being said, Can you share, Josh, you want to add something?
I was just going to ask, because I know that was a popular movie, but not everyone in the trades is a sports buff. So I was just going to explain Moneyball real quickly. So Moneyball was a philosophy used by the Oakland A's baseball team, who has a historically poor budget. Like, their owner just does not want to spend money on their baseball team, but they were tasked with winning against in today's world. If you do pay attention to sports, the Los Angeles Dodgers are the new New York Yankees. Their payroll's like $500 million.
That's
like,
wild.
I have my Milwaukee Brewers barely spend $100 million on their payroll and still somehow beat most teams most years. But the fact is, looking deeper into your data to find uncoverable growth levers in your business. And what they did, they found baseball players who fit a specific prototype that they wanted, and it allowed them to buy wins. When I say buy wins, because that's what baseball teams and sports teams do, they buy wins. Essentially, they buy players that can help them win games. But they found players that other teams are like, no, they look weird, or they throw weird, or they have
Dad's body.
Yeah, they look at the body type and like, well, that's not the right body type, but they get on base. Right. Getting on base produces more runs. So they found these hidden gems inside of, for so much cheaper cost, but they found hidden gems that allowed them to compete with the big market team, like the New York Yankees, or in today's world, the Los Angeles Dodgers. So that's like Moneyball.
Wasn't Giambi one of them?
Jason Giambi. Yeah, so it started because the A's lost their three best players in one offseason. It was Johnny Damon, their closer Jason Isringhausen, and Jason Giambi, who I'm pretty sure was on the juice at that point in his career. Of course,
he got big.
He was on the juice before that became a big steroid scandal. But it was, these guys were like, all three of them are all stars. They lost all three of them, and they're like, how the hell are we going to compete? And now, and today, if we bring this to the contracting world, think about it. Private equity is the Yankees, the Dodgers, right? They have the big pocketbooks. They could outspend you. So trying to compete in Google ads and some of those other is just not feasible. It's not a smart strategy to grow your business. So we're going to talk about some things that Shaun and his company have uncovered and are helping contractors with. And I'm sure we'll have some, Tersh and I will have some different things, because we love those guerrilla marketing things and I love diving deep into data. Tersh probably eyes glossed. He's like, give me a wrench.
Or just give me the headline.
Right? Like, give me
totally
the
get.
give me the TikTok version of this.
Yeah,
Too
yes,
long getting read.
exactly. No, that's a great description, Josh. I think the data behind the Moneyball. I think the A's had a budget of $40 million in 2002. The Yankees spent 125 million, and they won the exact same number of games. Right?
That's wild.
So it was like, okay, how there's always a bigger, badder fish out there. How do you get outspent consistently, but find the overlooked insights and how to win?
Well, we think about and this is the premise behind, like, I mean, obviously Shaun will get into Breezy and how you guys been with phone tap calls, analyzing those calls, like having a human sit there and listen to the calls all day and mark down if it was good or bad, or what the coaching thing is. Like, that sucks. That is a terrible job. Like, this is not it is a job, and it has been a job for a long time, but it is not a great job that somebody really wants to. That does not get them up in the morning and get them excited. And it also takes a long time. So now we're lagging behind multiple days, usually, especially in the right now we're recording this in the middle of June. So it's the peak season. And you just can't keep up with it. Like, we've had a human call taking team at Relentless for 5 years now. We're always 7 to 10 days behind. It's just, there's thousands of calls that we have to get through.
Yep.
Until we get caught up. And it's just, so by the time we get the data and the insights to the client, it's still valuable, but it's not like, I can't go back and find that call from 7 days ago and be like, yeah, let's go get that one on the schedule. Let's go after that one. Because we know that one is probably a good replacement opportunity. That ship sailed. And so that
not only that, I think that one of the things that we as contractors overlook during the busy season is the amount of money that we're losing during the busy season, because there's so much. It seems
like we're making money, right? Because our revenue dollar is up.
Tons of calls coming in, but if we missed some of those calls, how much more money? If we had not missed them, how much more money would we be generating?
Totally. We like to say, and there's kind of a funny irony in it. It's like, when we're making the most money, we're typically losing the most money, or at least leaving it on the table.
On the table, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Shaun, give us a background of you, who you are, and a little bit about what you're building out.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm kind of a funny hybrid of tech and trades. So my grandfather was a commercial landscaper in the DC area. On the other side, he was a carpenter. My dad was in home building, hit most of his career, and then negotiating some telecom contracts. So
that's cool.
Big pivot for him.
Yeah.
And then I used to work masonry in high school and college, really just to put cash in my pocket as a broke student. And then fell in love with like growth companies, software companies, worked for an incubator, helped grow a startup for the first decade of my career. And then I got to kind of marry the two. The last startup, we were helping like big investment companies find and win deals, right? And I was obsessed with it. Like, how do we help them win? Right? That's just kind of who I am. And then we got to marry those two and we started Breezy, right? So it's like, now it's, tools for home services contractors, right? And really it's like, what we're all about is, how can we help them book more jobs on autopilot, right? Because I'm like, strip everything away, no matter, there's very few contractors I could talk to that'd be like, no, I don't want more business. Yeah. So it's like, everything for us is like, how do we optimize around that? Yeah,
that's awesome. Interesting. Why join the space?
Yeah, good question. So a lot had to do with finding a stakeholder, finding like a customer base that I cared about helping. Right. My last company, we were lucky enough to experience like pretty explosive growth. I was running our private equity and venture capital group, and we were literally helping them like diligence new transactions. Right. So it was really interesting work, but I was also like, these are like the private equity firms you see in the news, right? I was like, they don't need me. As much as I like my individual clients, I was like, they don't need me to make money hand over fist, right?
Yeah.
Nor do I really, there was zero real world impact.
Right. The satisfaction.
Yeah, exactly. So my co-founder and I, when we launched Breezy, we were like, all right, we know how to build good software. And most of my time, my last company, Alpha Sites, it was like product and service led growth, right? I was like the only sales guy in my group. Right.
Oh,
as the head of the group. I would just call customers, be like, hey, when we do a good job for you, can you put me in touch with Tersh? Right. Yeah. I want his business as well. And so we're like, we know we can run this great customer service org and good software. How do we find a stakeholder? So we looked at a bunch of different industries, and we just loved home services, right? I don't think there's a reason there's a ton of private equity money pouring in
Oh,
and
sure.
I think
Yeah.
it's because people are seeing, there's opportunity, right? There's opportunity. And it kind of comes back to the Moneyball stuff. It's like, I tell our clients, it's like a lot of the contractors we talk to, they care a ton. They do great mechanical work. They're kind of doing all the hard stuff well. And then sometimes it's almost like easy stuff with like reviews or sealing off leaks in the sales funnel, stuff like that, where they can use help. Right. So that's kind of how we got into it. We're like, this would be fun. Look at all these family owned businesses that have been around for 35 years and actually care about their community. Right. Let's help them not get swallowed up by the big fish. Let's help them compete and win.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, well, I remember one of the first questions, Shaun, when we met, I don't know, maybe 2-ish years ago, something like that. I remember asking because I'm like, I won't mention the name, but the big gorilla in the room in your space is the big gorilla and owns most of the trades. Like everything is connected to it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why a CRM for the trades? And it was really fascinating because obviously you thought that something could be built with some of the emerging technology at its core to find those things and bring actionable insights to a contractor, especially, and maybe someone that doesn't want to pay an arm and a leg and their 2 children to contract for
naming rights at least.
And software, like, don't get me wrong, that software's great. There's a use. I mean, a lot of people use it. There's a lot of value there, but it's also not. I mean, I don't think it's a secret that everyone thinks it's very expensive. And a lot of contracts, especially like, because there's like this growing divide in the market, right? There's anyone that's above 5. I mean, there's not a lot of $5 to $10+ million companies, especially in the big markets anymore. Maybe the smaller outlying markets, maybe they haven't gotten around to those yet. But private equity owns, like, someone was telling me, someone, it's like some area in South Carolina, like literally, Turnpoint owns like all of the big competitors. So you have like an illusion of choice, but it's pretty much owned by the same company. Which,
it's all in the same place. Yeah.
It's kind of like our food and beverage industry, right? Like,
yes,
there's a bunch of brands, but they're all owned by like 12 or 13 companies. If you, if you ever looked at that weird chart that goes out where it's like all the fanning out of all these companies and who owns them all through all these different corporations.
Do you want to make technicians' heads explode? Let them know that there's not as many tool manufacturers as they think. Like if they are diehard Milwaukee fans, and they absolutely hate one of the other brands, there's a strong possibility it's the same equipment. It's the same tools being used.
It's like the craft beer industry, right? Like none of them want to be seen as sellouts, but a lot of the most popular craft breweries have been bought by AB InBev.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like Budweiser owns, this craft brewery. So yeah.
So, when it comes to, obviously you guys have been accumulating data and finding hidden insights and things that, these stones that kind of go unturned, there's stuff underneath of it. We just can't find it. What kind of things are you guys finding as you guys are digging into the data and helping contractors trying to maximize their returns without a huge budget?
Yeah, good question. So I guess to answer your first question, Josh, back when we met, I think you were like, why sign up for that march, right? Against such a big competitor. And I think the short answer is I'm a glutton for punishment and a competitive psychopath.
Well, there's that.
I think there's that. I think the longer answer is like, I think there's always room for improvement, right? And so, our core product initially was like a CRM, right? That was very like HVAC specific. And then our clients started to grow into plumbing and electrical, et cetera. I think the funny thing is the AI revolution has also been really fun to ride the wave on from our perspective, because our biggest gripe with building that product out was like, you got to handle all these sort of boring technical, maybe low leverage workflows on the operations side in order to unlock, hey, here's what we can really help with.
Yeah.
Right. And so now with the AI stuff, you can actually have these sort of AI agents that sit on top of, whether it's Breezy or a House Call Pro or Service Titan, right? Some of our even competitors on the CRM side, you can help them with the fun, high leverage stuff immediately, right? You don't need them to gut their operating system, all that stuff. So that's where we've been spending a lot of our time is like, hey, how do we help them with some of these Moneyball insights just with like AI agents? I can tackle these things for them.
You're actually building out agents that are able to integrate into other platforms?
Yes. So in short, Breezy is focused on, we help contractors book more jobs on autopilot, and we build AI agents to do so, right? That's our primary bread and butter.
What do you say whenever that sounds overwhelming to contractors?
I think we start small with people. Similar to my last gig, I kind of mentioned, like, I'm obsessed with customer experience, customer service. It's actually it's not super difficult from a technical standpoint now to stand up your own software, or, there's like a bunch of AI voice options, or AI texting, or AI chat.
Mhm.
So I was listening actually to a recent episode with, I think it was Ryan Fenn from Chirp, right?
Yeah.
And I loved his take where he's like, it's less about the tools. It's more about, like, how often have you used the hammer, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want to talk to
You
a
can
carpenter, not a random guy on the sidewalk holding the hammer, right?
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
And so for us, it's like, I'd say two things to that, Tersh. Number one, everything is around how well are the agents trained, and you don't need to be an expert to get started, right? And then number two, I think the good companies who have AI agents are focused on keeping the team in the loop, right? Like, the goal is not to replace the team or to outsource all of a sudden, like, outsource all my customer interactions to an AI. Like, that's scary, right? Like, literally the most important interaction. Yeah. Now a robot handles that. It's like, I think the smart software companies are like, that's a mistake. The issue is that your CSR is spending a ton of time. Number one, they can only talk to one customer at a time, right? Number two, they can't work 24/7. And number three, they're tied up with all this, like, low leverage work around. I'm talking to the high maintenance customer who calls every day and sounds like he just wants to talk to somebody, right? I'm taking the spam call. I'm talking to a vendor that I don't need to be talking to. Like, there's all these times when they're on the phone, they can't talk to the new customer who has a broken system during a heat wave, right? Like, that, I think, is how to think about, it's not replacement. It's not now your business, AI magic wand, everything's AI. I think that's a misapplication, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's 100%. Josh and I talk about this a lot, especially back whenever we were thinking about, like, AI first coming out. AI CSRs, they were the hot thing. I mean, that's what AI voice was the big thing that everybody was talking about. And in our presentations, Josh and I both were very deliberate with, like, hey, look, we're not looking to replace CSRs with AI voice. We're looking to, exactly what you said, we're looking to free up time so that you can spend more time doing the things that you're really good at. And you're really good at customer service and fielding that call that someone was upset, and you can show the empathy that the AI voice isn't able to do. Like
That's the part I feel like I've talked about this a lot. I was listening to clients' LSA calls, and they had AI voice on the weekend, and I'm just sitting here and listening to someone. I'm like, oh man, like, the amount of money this client's spending on LSA, which plumbing leads are about $100 roughly right now. So $100 per phone call. And I'm listening to the user experience, and you can just, like, granted, it's better than probably leaving a voicemail, because at least it talks to someone, maybe books a job. But, like, think about, you're going to have to build a lot more trust when you get to the home.
Oh, for sure.
Because they don't know what to expect. They don't know what type of company you are. It's the same thing, like, if you had in the back in the day when you had, like, a husband and wife working together, wife was answering the phone and, like, hello, like, just real crap. Like, you could just tell she hated her life. Believe me, I've had clients, when I listen to calls, I'm like, you really probably shouldn't have that person answering the phone. I know that really hurts to hear, but, like, it's hurting your business. And I get it. You don't want to pay someone else because it's your business, but, you try to do the best. But it's just, I don't know, the AI just doesn't pick up on the subtleties. And the funny thing is, like, we went to Arby's it was New Year's. Brittany wanted to get some fries. That's all she wanted. They closed early, so she just got some fries from there. And it was an AI order taker. It was, like, literally 5 minutes from my house. And what people don't understand about AI yet is, like, AI is working through a workflow or an automation. It is not like, Shaun, I tell you something, Shaun, you could go 18 different ways with that. It's going to go to the next thing that it's trying to fix, which is address, phone number. What's the problem? Where are you located? Like, it's going to follow that flow and try to get the information there. Now, at some point, yes, we will probably have something that can artificially just have this type of conversation, but it isn't it's essentially a fancy automation at this point. And it learns from all the human history and all the docs we've given it. So I think everyone thinks it's like this living, breathing thing, and it's not yet. It's just a series of automations, it's just a smarter series of automations, really, is what it is.
I think to build on that point, Josh, it's like part of what the three of us are talking about is, I always like to ask the question, it's like, what is it good at? What is AI good for, and what is it not, right? Because I think there's a tendency these days, any problem in a business, just be like, AI it. Let's hit the AI button. And it's like, well, that's silly. Yep. Right? It's not the right tool for every scenario. But I personally like Amazon, right? Like when Amazon was early days, right? I love using them as whatever you think about the brand, the company, they've obviously revolutionized e-commerce, right? And Jeff Bezos said early days, he was like looking at the internet and he's like, we're going to invest in things that aren't changing. And we're going to look at what constraints does the internet remove, right? And for Amazon in particular, it started as sort of like an online bookstore. And the constraints they removed were inventory, needing to carry inventory, which is super costly, warehouse space, and the capacity of like having a sales team, right? Versus letting people like shop, right? And so they're like, all right, we're going to remove those constraints, right? And obviously they've done a lot more to build on top of that, but that was the basic principle. I think if we apply that to AI, it's like, what is AI good at, right? Number one, round the clock question and answering.
Yeah.
Number two, can talk to multiple customers at the same time. Number three, really good at generating written content, right? Written responses in particular. Okay. And number four, it's as smart as you train it. So that's a blessing and a curse, right?
Yes.
Poorly trained, you're like, this is a huge detriment to the business. Well trained, you're like,
you plug it in and you give it a few prompts and it's like, it's going to be good. And then I was reading a thread yesterday. It was talking about some of the AI voice providers that are pretty popular right now. And it was like, it worked for 6 months. And then like things just started going off the rail. It started getting worse.
Right.
Which happens. But the thing is, you think about it, use it for 6 months. How often are you checking to make sure it's still doing a good job? You're not, because you moved on to something else, because that's what human nature does. We move on to the next problem.
That problem was solved.
Problem solved. I'm moving to the next one.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden we're losing customers left and right that we don't even know we're losing because something we had set up we thought was good isn't off, because we don't have any guardrails and some systems in place there.
And this goes back to Ryan's point, right? In the episode, which was, that's why you have to emphasize training, right? True. And emphasize high touch service and the companies that know what they're talking about and have trained the agents for you and are monitoring and tweaking, right? Because, on the flip side, we just listed the things it's good at, but the things it's not good at, empathy, mirroring tone, sense of humor, right? So
rebuttals. Like, as soon as somebody throws up a rebuttal.
That depends on the training. That depends on the training.
That's a good point.
I would say like objection handling. So like what we've done in particular is when we started, you guys know I'm like Weldon Long's like a mentor and friend of mine, right? So when we started, I was like, Weldon, send me your CSR scripts.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right?
When you have a good coach.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've gotten coaching and insights from some of the top coaches and gurus in the industry and been like, well, what if we just trained all the agents on this stuff, including objection handling and, and I won't sit here and be like, oh yeah, an AI voice is going to be better than a person. Right. But it's like what the reaction we tend to get from clients is finally a CSR that actually runs my playbook. Right. Every time. So like those are, that's where it can improve the empathy. It's like, there's so many conversations that a human touch is required. Send those to the team, send those to the team to handle, but now they're not handling the spam call, the vendor call, the high maintenance customer, all that stuff. Right.
Yeah. And just even those things that you're talking about, like analyzing your warehouse. So you don't have, dude, I remember the first HVAC company I came to, granted they had a lot of financial problems and stuff when I started, but we had this second bay in this like business park area. The main bay was the office, and then right next to it, and it was like all this old just junk, like parts, just stuff that was like collected. And I'm like thinking of warranty, and then we finally maybe a year or two after I was there, we started going through this stuff. I'm like, oh, we don't need to reorder this. We don't need to. We had all this stuff that we already paid for that was sitting there. Like, think about how much inventory a truck goes through on a weekly, monthly, annual basis. I mean, Tersh, you probably even have a better idea because you run calls. Like, imagine not having to stock with a bunch of shit that you never sell, just because you just have it just to have it, right? Because like we all know there's technicians out there, oh, just in case that one odd job on a weekend that you don't need it.
Like, this random control board that cost me $400 that I haven't used in 3 years.
Like that's super expensive. That just
it's get it when break. It's going to break in the back of a van and just
filters that all messed up and whatever.
The worst is whenever I see motors, like blower motors and condenser fan motors that are just rolling around the back of vans and you can't read the data plate anymore. And they're like, they just chunk them because they're like, oh yeah, I can't read it, so I don't know what it is.
Right.
Just think of if you were able to analyze that, like your usage and what you bought. You can analyze all your purchase orders and things that you regularly go through. And you can analyze and be like, I'm going to get rid of a bunch of this stuff. I'm going to clean up the vans. I'm not going to have all this stuff on hand. Because think about, you pay for all that stuff up front, and you might not sell it for 6 months or a year.
You can do a weekly audit. Like I have several co-work scheduled tasks. I think that's what's like they call them on
cron job.
Yeah, and it just like every week it'll do this inspection. It'll do like it inspects code to make sure it's not bloat in it, and like just random things like that. And those are completely automated now. I don't have to manually do any of it.
Yeah. I mean, I do the same thing for our company expenses, right? And recommendations, stuff like that. But Josh brings up an interesting sort of broader point, which is, a lot of companies, I'd say most companies that exist, not just home services, like have assets that they're not getting value out of, right? Or as much as they could. And to kind of tie it back to the Moneyball metaphor at the beginning, right? It's like, I think for my money, and this is what I advise our clients on, I think there's sort of three like sort of Moneyball insights, right? Like one is your existing customer base is a massive, massive asset that a lot of companies could be squeezing more juice out of. Two is most companies I talk to, there's some leaks in the sales funnel somewhere, right? So before you spend more dollars on leads, like let's focus on where they leaking, right? And then three is pricing. Those are like some of the three largest sort of Moneyball levers that I see, across the board.
Well, and I want to tell a story about number two here quick because it's recent. But for number three on the pricing, I mean, think about it. Doing like cost analysis on repairs and some of these other things, that used to be a very tedious process. But now your CRM knows the labor. You can pull the purchase order. You can see the sale price, how long they were there, because everything's time stamped and date stamped now. You can analyze, is this repair even worth it? Like, is this even something like we should be doing? Or is this something that the price on this specific type of repair needs to be adjusted because I'm getting 30% gross margin on this and I'm getting 70% on these other things? Well, number two, this is really interesting. So we had, it's a current prospect, so I'm mentioning names. Really nice guy, but he wants more leads and because his phone's not ringing right now and it's summer. It's not a good time for him. But he's like, but we miss a lot of calls. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, why would you want to go pay us before you fix your missed call problem? Because it's just like anything else. You put that money into ads, but you only book 40 or 50% of your calls, which some people are going to scoff at those numbers. Those numbers are a lot more in line with the average trades company than people even realize. And you're going to go pay extra money to go fumble 50% of your opportunities.
Yes.
Granted, we're never going to book it 100%, right? Because there's capacity, all kinds of things. But these problems are exacerbated. And then you wonder why there's no money to do anything. And it's because of these hidden things that are just eating away at all of your profit.
Right. And some of the data that we see, and we've studied a lot of like homeowner and consumer data. And some of this I actually have gotten from you guys as well, as we kind of became friends a couple of years back and going to some of your talks and things. But on average, I think it's about 27 to 30% of inbound calls to home services businesses are missed, right? A third, 1 in every 3. Now there's reasons for that, right? Some of those are after hours, about half those are after hours and weekends. A lot of those are during the workday, right? The team gets tied up in meetings or they're on the phone with another customer. And then you marry that with some of the speed to lead data, right? Around like you have essentially a 3 to 4 times better chance of booking a new customer if you can book them in their first 60 seconds of outreach, right? Versus a callback even 30 minutes later, right? So you're missing about a third. What are they doing right after? They're just calling the next business.
Oh yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And so it's like first things first, like seal off the leak in the call funnel, right? I think another big leak is web visitors. I was looking, obviously the older generations still very much like old school. Let's pick up the phone. I love
Sure.
that. The reality is more and more homeowners are millennials and younger, far, far more likely to be web only. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And so like, I think I'm an old soul. I don't have a Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, but like, if my wife's like, hey, let's go check out this new restaurant. If I can't book it online, I'm like, yeah, we're just never going.
Red flags. This is
Exactly.
a red flag everywhere.
Exactly. Our only hope at that point is like walk in during happy hour, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think the average consumer is the same way, right? What they're demanding is, I need service and attention now. I'm trying to buy peace of mind and cross this off my to-do list, right? And so, the guy down the street who wasn't recommended now is better than the recommended company even an hour later, right? So that's that's where I say like let's get the easy stuff right. Because to Josh's point, you got a leaky bucket, you dump more water in, we just have a bigger mess, right?
Yeah, 100%. Hello, home service professionals. Do you want to maximize your marketing budget? Then you need to be using call tracking from CallRail. Let's say you noticed a spike in new leads this month. To find out what's driving them, you just log into your CallRail dashboard. Is my new Facebook ad outperforming my other ads? Or is paid search knocking it out of the park? Or maybe it's time to retire those newspaper ads. Since CallRail assigns a unique phone number to each of my marketing efforts, I know where my best leads come from and which efforts to scrap. CallRail shows you your most cost-effective marketing channels so you can get back to business. Go to callrail.com/SBMpod and try it for free.
Quick question. How many calls did you miss last month? Not how many you answered, how many did you miss? Across the home services industry, about 30% of inbound calls go unanswered. And those aren't just tire kickers, those are customers ready to give their business to whoever books first. Breezy fixes that with AI agents that answer every call, they book the jobs for you, and they follow up instantly. So instead of waking up to missed calls, wake up to book jobs. If you want to see how many jobs you're losing right now, go to getbreezyapp.com, use code SBM, and they'll give you $500 towards Breezy on us. Now back to the episode.
One of the other things that I've seen personally, is the CSR booking the entire schedule filled with lost leader tune-ups, like not even maintenance calls, like straight like $19 to get in the door.
Yep.
And then a homeowner calls in and says, hey, our breaker's tripping and for the outdoor unit and it won't stay on. And they're like, oh, sorry, we're booked out 3 weeks on these loss leaders, and this could be a $15,000, $20,000 system replacement because the compressor, like on a 12-year-old system, I think it was, or a 15-year-old system that the homeowner called in, and immediately like that's just throwing that lead away. So like not just missed calls, but like missed leads that you're answering the phone, but you're just telling people you're too busy and then not marking it as a bookable lead because in your mind you were too busy, so it wasn't bookable. In reality,
Absolutely.
It is bookable, and that goes to a difference in call classifications across the board. Like, how can you measure something when there's no consistency in the definition of the call? Like, if
Absolutely.
it's open to interpretation and it's like 12 different people that are interpreting this very, very loose interpretation, then you can't make, you can't pull the trigger on spending more money on marketing because your data might be wrong or likely is wrong.
Absolutely. And that's where great call tracking, right, is super important, right? And that's where something like phone tap could be incredibly helpful, right? Another thing that helps is like we baked in, we've spent a lot of time focusing on transfer rules, right? Rules have been
Explain what that means.
Yeah. So basically we have an AI voice that can answer phones 24/7. What we recommend is have it be the first line of defense after hours and weekends. And then during the workday, any call that rings longer than 15, 20 seconds, send it over, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Here's, I think, the difference. A lot of people understandably are like, I don't want to outsource my customer interaction. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want you to either, to be honest, right? But we teach the agents to listen for keywords and specific types of jobs that are emergency or high revenue or new customers. And we send it back to the owner or the head of sales or whoever in the company can make sure that we drop everything and get that on the calendar tonight or first thing tomorrow, right? So it's not like, again, it's not AI button. It's what is going to maximize our speed to lead and booking rate for this specific lead.
In its own way, it's optimizing the process also. It's helping to optimize the process.
Exactly. And it gives owners like it because it gives them a little bit more transparency into what is the team dealing with. Where can I parachute in? I think like from my conversations with our clients and other owners, one of the scary things about scaling your business is some of the most important interactions, AKA your company with homeowner, happen outside your line of sight, right? Which is why you want to record calls or look at data or look at, and there's a whole suite of these like software and AI tools that are helping to solve that problem. But I think that's why it's like the best solutions are not AI or people. It's like
combination.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. I had never, prior to this whole AI boom, I never heard the human in the loop terminology. Yeah. Like I knew it was a thing, but I never like heard it used on a regular basis. Now I feel like the companies that are winning have, like, even if you have AI in your business, you still have checks and balances and you have the human, a quote unquote human in the loop ability where, like you said, you can send it back to someone who is going to put the authority on how important this call is.
Exactly.
And it's not somebody who's just trying to fill the schedule. And I'm not saying that all CSRs are only just trying to fill the schedule, but that's how a lot of companies reward CSRs is, making sure the schedule's completely filled.
Absolutely. When we launched our agent suite back in early February, right? Some of the first feedback we got was, okay, this is really helpful. We're now catching more leads. How do we marry this to our on-call technician schedule? Right. And our on-call, and one client actually onboarded just because they're like, well, now we can actually offer 24/7 service because we can actually respond to customers. Right. So again, it's not replacement. I think it's like, our general principle is a lot of the team is just they're getting tied up with distractions. How do we free up their time for the high leverage customer conversations?
Well, it's so
that's
true.
Where their personal touch is most needed.
Like because the companies I used to work at were small and I was be doing marketing, operations, dispatching, answering the phone. And the problem is doing so many different things. You're deep into something over here and then the phone rings. You're like, it's almost like an annoyance at that point because you're like deep into your thought of the thing you're trying to do. And then of course there's that whole, it takes a good 10, 15 minutes to get back into where you were. And then the phone rings again. And it's a really inefficient use of time. But for small companies, it's like, well, we got to do what we got to do because I can't hire 4 office staff members right now. Exactly. But it is a tough thing. But that's where small companies are actually kind of at a point that's like AI technology actually kind of like an advantage for them because the things that they couldn't do before, because PE companies and these big brands, they answer all the calls. And that's why they're so.
They have centralized operations, right? It's how they can buy a company with such a high valuation. Yeah.
When you do get those new customer calls, and you're you're in an attic or you're in a basement or whatever that looks like, you do have a solution that is pretty cost effective for a small company that can at least help out when you're not in the office or in the truck where you can actually answer the phone.
Exactly.
So there are some advantages to those sorts of things because then really no company even though I still see a lot of missed calls in our clients' reports. So no company should have an excuse to have a missed call, theoretically. Right. Now, obviously, some of these tools cost a lot of money and all that kind of stuff. So I totally get that. But theoretically, there should be no excuse anymore because the technology allows us to at least pick up the phone and have, I'll say something, not someone, answer it.
I mean, Shaun, you know this number way better than I do, but you say how many? 1 call, 2 calls a month? Like that pays for the service? 3 calls a month?
Yeah. So, well, the break even on our service in particular is typically just 1.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
1 to 2. It depends on the volume they're getting. They're kind of buying like an all-you-can-eat package. But that's the break even, right? And so, some of the fun case studies we've seen. Look, when we first launched it, we're like, we know this is a problem, right? We think this is an elegant solution, so let's bring it to market, right? We turned it on for a friend of ours March 23rd, and he booked three extra jobs by 11 p.m. on the 24th. This is like a 3-truck shop in Arizona, right? We booked, I think it was 55 for him by the end of April. So a month and a week.
Oh yeah. I mean,
that's crazy. We were like, we had to kind of pinch ourselves and be like, Chris, gut check us. Is that real? And he's like, I think I'm getting 25 to 30% more jobs, right? More clients.
Oh, that's wild.
So that's what we're excited about. Yeah, exactly. And like, not everyone's going to get that immediate uptake. This client in particular works really well with us in coaching and feedback, and we make the product better, and guys, there's also a dramatic difference in your booking rate for even just the intro, right?
What do you mean by that?
I mean, so this is where, like, again, an overarching thesis for us is the tools are sort of becoming commoditized. The training is where the real value is, right? And so, we've seen our best clients are booking like 90, I think low 90s, like 91% of potential customers. They're getting,
wow,
right? Our worst are in the 50s. And so we go through the fine tooth comb. It's still solid, but I want everyone in the 90s, right? Sure. So we go through the fine tooth comb, and it's like, it's not a coincidence that the ones that are lower, the high ones are like, thanks for calling Breezy Home Services. This is Shaun. How can I help you? Right? The ones that are struggling are, thanks for calling Total Comfort Services. All the live representatives are tied up. I'm an AI agent, virtual assistant. Tell me what to help. And it's like, click, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the stuff comes in. And it's like, objection handling. How do we pitch the company? How formal is it? All that stuff.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Josh, you have anything?
No,
I mean, we're over our time, but
there's just so much. Like I literally made a post about it in between our podcast recordings today. Cause I made a post earlier this morning about the AI slop ads that people are putting on their Facebook pages where they're like, it's like just,
you mentioned that earlier today, but I've seen teachers and parents screaming at each other about fundraiser posters or something like that, club posters. They're for schools, and they're like, if you have a teacher's account, you get Canva for free. So why are you building this AI slop? And once I seen it, I was like, oh my God, they all look the exact same. I know what they're talking about.
And that's the interesting thing about humans in general. Like, we can pick up on trends very quickly, and and honestly, the reason I posted about it this morning and then I found another one right after is because, of course, Facebook's stalking me. It was, I had a client that I just happened to see their Facebook thing in my feed yesterday or 2 days ago. They had some special offer for something this summer. The offer expired 2025 on the thing. And I'm sitting here. And of course, it's so overwhelming because there's so much crap on there. I'm like, guys, and this is where the knowledge of these things is so useful in marketing, in sales, in being a technician or being a good CSR. Like, the knowledge of what works and what doesn't is still going to set you apart, regardless if you have an AI tool or not. Because I know, like, certain offers, like, when clients come to me and like, I want to send an outbound text for $50 off any repair. And I'm like, why? You're hoping someone has a problem today and they're going to contact you because of this offer. That's not going to work. Like, you might get a couple response. Oh yeah, I've been meaning to get that thing fixed. Most people, if they're going to need to get it fixed, they get it fixed. And so like sending offers out like that, you need preventative maintenance type offers, like get your foot in the door to be able to, hey, can I inspect this? Then you find the problems. But so many people put these like, well, I want drain cleaning calls. I'm like, good luck trying to find someone that has a slow drain today. Like it's one in a million. Like you're just hoping someone's got a slow drain and needs to call you. And that's why Google and some of those places always do so well for certain services. But
unless it's the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, like duct cleaning, maintenance, all those things, those are preventative or safety inspections where you're inspecting, like you're doing water treatment. Some of these other services can be things where you can use AI to help build your campaign. But it's frustrating to see because I'm just like, oh my God, people, I'm like, you're just taking this so far and I know everyone starts somewhere, like you don't know what you're doing and you're wasting not only your time, but now you're spending tokens and credits and subscription fees on something that it's not helping you.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, say preventative.
Preventative.
That's not what you said.
You try and catch him in the preventive.
Yeah, always.
You got it. He's sneaky.
Every once in a while, I got a little bit of that Wisconsin.
Of course, we've all got the regional dialect.
Like a roof.
Brittany has a little bit more for certain words. But anyways.
That's great. Yeah, Josh, it's like, this is a totally unrelated example, but I'm in one of my friends running like a World Cup pool. And he's using AI to analyze like the data and spit out a graphic. And we've all been laughing at him because we're like, dude, the data is just wrong.
Yeah.
It's sending us a daily preview and it's like Spain versus Italy today. We're like, Italy didn't qualify.
Italy didn't even qualify.
Exactly. And it's like, so one takeaway from that is, well, AI is stupid, right? And that's correct. It's as smart as how it's trained, right? We're all like, hey man, why don't you feed it accurate data? Give it like the ESPN data source, or whatever, right?
So have you there's this little saying that you can put into any of the LLMs, and I do it every time there's an update, or I try to, if I think about it, I do it. I'm driving, or what is it? I'm 50 yards away from the car wash. Should I drive or walk there? And it'll tell you to walk every single time. But how are you going to wash the car if you just walk there? That's it. I mean, it doesn't think about those things. It's like, yeah, walk there.
I love those little like trivia things.
And that's just the thing. Like, I think sometimes, and because it is so cool, because it does spit out some, and it can be very helpful. Like I've had to fix spreadsheets because I get spreadsheets from someone. I'm like, I hate when spreadsheets don't have formulas connected to them. Like you manually update it, but it doesn't update on the next tab over or the next tab over. So
yeah,
like,
you're so bougie. You are so bougie. I remember in 2000,
I just want to update data.
Manually build those formulas.
That's not bougie. That's just being smart.
You are so bougie.
Yeah, that's valuing your time. I'm with Josh on this one.
Yeah, I like it too.
I didn't think updating my spreadsheet to have formulas in it was bougie.
I've never thought of spreadsheets as bougie before. That's great.
Across the tabs, that's where it's like, oh no, my dashboard is different than tab 47. Yeah, no, this isn't going to work.
Well, like, because like we have like sales numbers that we do for our stuff that we update, and then we change the months, and so we can keep closing rates. But if it doesn't go to like the full dashboard with all the salespeople, it causes issues. You're like, then you don't trust the data and you can't make decisions. But I'm just saying, like, there's so many things that it can help with, but everyone's focused on, like, I feel like they're focused on the wrong things. Just because it can do something doesn't mean you should have it do it.
I have one question for you, but before I ask that question, that'll be the last question I ask before we wrap things up. Where can people learn more about Breezy and be more engaged with you? Visit us at www.getbreezyapp.com. We just like to kind of set up like free consults, chat with people, see where they need help. And if we can help, great. And if not, just point them in the right direction. That's really cool. All right. So last question, spitfire question for you. Vibe coding. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. Great question. It's funny because I'm not like a techie AI guy, right? Like I'm obsessed with like sales and trying to find competitive edges in customer service. My co-founder Ryan is like insane AI pilled CTO, right? And hit like our engineering is like off the charts. I actually built my first prototype a couple weeks back.
Okay.
You know, I want something that like scrapes unstructured data on social media sources and surfaces it to business owners immediately, so they could grab, you know, a lead on Facebook community or Nextdoor, something like that they might not see otherwise, right? It blew my mind how impressive the first version was. I wound up just making sort of a clickable prototype versus it's actually wired up and works, right? So my take on vibe coding is this, at least from the software standpoint. We could give that to a customer and they'd have a terrible experience, right? I'm sure it would be buggy. I think it will get to a point where non-engineers can build simple apps that are functional, right?
Yeah.
And I think we'll get there pretty quickly. I actually think we're sprinting there. I don't think we're there yet. I know we're not there yet.
Yeah, we
right?
can get like 80% of the way there, and it gives you enough confidence to where you're like, all right, I think this is good. And then you get to like that last 90%, like that last 10%, and you're like, oh my, what is going on? Why will this not fix?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. And so my co-founder makes fun of me because he's like, okay, cool. You built a great like front end that now I can use to actually build the product from scratch.
Which I have like literally, this has been several months ago. Where I was asking, I want to say it was Claude. It could have been Chat GPT. I don't recall, but I basically asked that question, and I was like, hey, I have a great idea for this, and this, but I want it to connect over here. And they're like, so just use the vibe coding platform to create what you want it to look like, and then just send it to a developer. I was like,
yeah,
okay, thanks.
Which is so insulting to hear, right?
Yeah.
But I get it. And I think, yeah, it's kind of full circle because it just comes back to, it's like, you know, I think I want to encourage people to get started with AI. It will astound you the things that it can help with, but not all of them are going to be hits. Some will be total misses, but you got to start somewhere. My call to action is surround yourself with, whether it's vendors or advisors or employees, who are smarter than you on some of these things and can advise and can help refine, right? There's nothing wrong with an AI generated marketing campaign if it goes through multiple iterations and gets feedback from a great agency afterwards. And it's like, and has data behind it, right? There is, if it's like your first shot on Chat GPT and looks like AI slop, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's the problem too, is like, even that, like, is it working? You have to be able to track that stuff.
That's it too. Yeah,
everything you do, like if you add an AI voice provider, if you add AI chat, is it working? Like you have to pay attention to it. The problem is like I know I've been guilty because I look at my subscription costs like every quarter, every 6 months, and I got stuff. I'm like, I don't even remember when I bought that. I don't know
what that tool does.
You buy it and you get it set up and you're like, okay, let's run. And I'm like, hey team, are we even using this anymore? Like,
exactly.
I don't even know. And
I sent Josh this screenshot one time. This has been like a month or two ago, and it was like $45 or something. And I was like, hey Josh, do you know what this is? Like, it's been on our P&L for the past like 6 months or 3 months or something, and it's only $45. I don't know what it is. And he's like, I don't know what it is either. We look at it like, we have never used it. We just signed up for it.
Enter credit card, or we probably got a free trial, and then it just flipped over to our credit card, and then we just never turned it off. You know,
right?
Because somebody told us we got to look into this.
How it works.
Like literally, if I was developing software, I would do anything under $100 tool, because that shit just stays on your credit card.
It flies under the radar.
Yes, it stays under the $100 threshold. Which, by the way, for anyone listening, if you do any offers to people, make it under $100. Promise you that threshold is real, and people will say yes a lot more if you do something under $100. So just don't do your $199 world's greatest tune-up. It doesn't work. I promise you, it won't work. People will not say yes.
That's great.
Well, I
Yeah,
know
there's
that.
there's probably like predatory price. There's probably more software companies than would care to admit that do that exactly.
Oh yeah.
That's the whole strategy, is go fly under the radar.
Yeah.
Especially with
100%.
the AI adoption, because you build a tool and it doesn't take long and might not even work that well, but it's like $9 or $15 or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's hoping to get hundreds of or thousands of subscriptions, and all of a sudden you got a one-person business, and the guy's like, "Yeah, we're doing pretty good."
Yeah,
So
that's great. That's great. Well, yeah, this has been fun, guys. Always a
Yeah,
pleasure. Yeah,
it's been great.
Appreciate you.
yeah. Thanks. You as
We'll
well.
see you.
You as well.
We'll see y'all
See
later.
you around.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.